What's good? It's Wood. So they just announced the fight, Floyd Mayweather versus Logan Paul, the YouTuber, the famous YouTuber, brother to Jake Paul. My first thoughts, why did they pick the wrong Paul brother? Jake Paul is the guy who just knocked NBA player, former NBA player, Nate Robinson out. Logan Paul, I just saw lose to KSI in a rematch by decision like less than a year and a half ago. So I think I get what Floyd's doing. He just saw Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. sell 1.2 million pay-per-views. Yes, it was at a discounted rate. It was like $49. And guess what? This Floyd Mayweather versus Logan Paul fight is going to be like $25 for the first, I believe, million pay-per-view buyers. So they took note of that discount rate, and they're going to apply it to their model even more so to make the pay-per-view look like it's bigger than that than the Mike Tyson Roy Jones one. So if Tyson Jones does 1.2, you give people basically 50% off a pay-per-view until you get to a million, and then once it hits a million, then they're going to up the price accordingly. So that's kind of the pay-per-view strategy in this case. But in terms of the fight itself, this is, it would be at least a little more interesting if they would have picked the right Paul brother. And that's just because we've now seen Jake Paul fight twice, and he's got 2 knockouts. Once against some far less physically talented YouTuber, and against a legitimate professional athlete. Nate Robinson is a 3-time slam dunk contest winner. Yes, he is like 3 years retired from the NBA. And yes, he is undersized as far as NBA players go. Very undersized for an NBA player, like 5'8", 5'9". But he is strong as hell, and he's quick as hell. And Jake Paul just knocked him out like 3 times. So this Mayweather-Logan Paul matchup was actually rumored a couple months ago, and it was supposed to take place around New Year's. Well, now it's officially been announced, and it's instead taking place in February. So yeah, if he were to have picked the more accomplished with the hands Paul brother, Jake Paul, then it would have at least had some people scratching their head like, okay, because Jake Paul is going to be a lot bigger than Floyd. We know that. Floyd's about 5'7". Jake Paul's about 6'1". I think Logan Paul might be a little bit taller than Jake Paul. But again, I just saw Logan Paul fight a YouTuber, a non-professional athlete, let alone professional fighter, and lose to him via decision. So like, what the hell are we doing? Unless Logan Paul somehow became a professional grade fighter seemingly overnight, there's nothing interesting about this except for how gracious does Floyd want to be in terms of extending the fight. How much does he want to knock the guy out early? How sad is Floyd going to allow this fight to look? Now, when Floyd fought Conor McGregor's not a boxer, but he's a skilled, deadly, trained professional with the hands. He's an exceptional stand-up MMA fighter. So whether you think Floyd Mayweather purposely made the fight look closer than it actually was, you've got some people who think that, others who say that's ridiculous. Conor, don't disrespect Conor's performance. Regardless, Conor McGregor, it wouldn't be difficult to make it look believable with somebody as good as Conor McGregor. You would really have to stretch the imagination to make Mayweather and Logan Paul look competitive, unless it really is. So, there's no way in hell that Logan Paul should be able to beat Floyd. I don't care if he's 190 pounds versus Floyd Mayweather's probably, 155 pounds. If Floyd is 160, that'll be uncharacteristically bad and heavy for Floyd. I expect him to be around 155. So Logan Paul is big, we know that. He doesn't seem to be, in my opinion, as coordinated as Jake Paul. I get the feeling, just having watched them both, that Jake Paul is the more gifted brother in combat sports, in boxing, not Logan Paul. So again, that's kind of a dampener in this Floyd Mayweather versus blank Paul matchup. I think I might have rather seen Floyd Mayweather versus Chris Paul, to be honest. But if Logan Paul was going to make it interesting. What could he do? I think he should just rush this dude. Try to treat him like a 40-year-old, like opening bell. Because you know that if you give Floyd time, like a couple minutes to look at you and to kind of see what your tendencies are, the fight's already over. The fight's done. Floyd figures things out quickly, and he's probably the most adaptive, reactive, in the words of Richard Dwyer, fighter we've seen, certainly in the last couple generations. So if you're going to catch Floyd, and ask Zab Judah this, ask Shane Mosley this, you want to catch him early. So you want to just run up on him, like steal on him. Try to catch a case on beating up a senior citizen. You know what I mean? Don't try to out-sweet science him and try to, one thing you do want to use is a jab. If you could get a jab pumping, good luck. Try to keep his head on a swivel. Keep that jab out there. Try to throw that jab without him being able to counter over the top. So if you could get that going, that fundamental, foundational thing going, great. Many have tried. De La Hoya has some success with that. But if I'm Logan Paul, I'm trying to run up on him. I'm trying to really just make him work as hard as he's ever worked for the first 45 seconds. Like, just shoot, like empty the clip, man. Like, you're not gonna outpoint him unless he lets you, or unless his physicality is just totally fallen off a cliff. You're not going to catch him slipping in the third round, fourth, fifth round. I'm assuming this is going to be like a 3 or 5. I don't think it's going to be an 8-rounder like Tyson Jones was. Although if it is an 8-rounder, great. That just makes it that much funner, I guess. But no, you're still not going to win on the scorecards, even in a 5-round fight. So you're going to have to hurt Floyd, and you're going to have to hurt him early. You're going to have to just try to sleep him. Like act like this was just like a man on the street situation where you were just about to get in a brawl. And look, if you do that, it comes with its own risk. You might get Nate Robinson, because Nate Robinson got his feet crossed as he was trying to come in and charge at Jake Paul. So if you could try to come in on Floyd and keep your feet spatially aware and just let your hands go. Throw things with wicked intentions. Really sell out. If you could learn how to feint, great. Like, feint and then throw. Like, try to work on these things to best prepare you to give Floyd the first opening minute worth of hell possible. That's where the training should be geared. It shouldn't be training to go 6 rounds, to do this. It's what kind of trick punch, what kind of weird entrance can I deploy to catch Floyd in the first couple minutes of this fight? That's the only shot you got, man. Because if you look, you might think that because he's way older that you could, kind of wear him out and then catch him in the later rounds. No, it's much more likely that the opposite occurs. That the old man in this case is actually so, natural with the fluid movements and the reflexes and the different things that you need to do to be able to fight intelligently. It's so second nature to Floyd, to where that instinct is going to just like kick in. He's going to be on autopilot, cruise control, and you're going to be the one drowning, because this is not as second nature to you. So you don't want to go into the 4th and then the 5th and then the 6th round. Look at Conor McGregor. Conor's a younger man. And look at what happened to him as he got into the 6th, 7th, and 8th round. And again, I'm not sure yet if this is a 3-round fight, 5-round fight, 8-round fight. But regardless, if you're Logan Paul, you want to catch Floyd in the first, man. You want to hurt this man. Maybe he comes out and you could catch him cold. He hasn't worked up a sweat on his entrance into the ring, even though I think he's got the experience of being under the lights and knowing how to conduct his body when you're about to get into that rhythm, that moment where you're going to have to do work. Again, nothing that requires any experience is going to work in Logan Paul's favor. So just run up on him and don't play fair. Make the ref pry him off you. If you lose by DQ, you lose by DQ. But and you might want to watch out for some contractual language that says that if Logan Paul fouls him, that Floyd is financially taken care of and compensated, and that Logan Paul is penalized. But you just want to run up on the old man and try to make him work in that opening minute, 2 minutes. You try to knock him out in that first minute, man, because it's going to be really, really tough to do it after that. But yeah, let me know what you think about this circus fight, this exhibition, this moneymaker. Please leave your comments in the comments, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you are into the fight talk. I'm Woog. Thanks for tuning in.